Hey guys, so recently we've forwarded quite a lot of questions based around the sort of the materials we've used in the camper on the back of the MOG. Now, we have spent thousands of hours, Ange and I, kind of working out what the best materials are going to be that are going to be fit for purpose. So not only will they be strong, they'll be non-toxic, they'll be lightweight, and basically perfect for any kind of mobile living, so your vans, your caravans, anything like that. We reckon we've done a pretty good job of it, and they're also modern as well and a little bit different than maybe what you've seen already. So I'm just going to start breaking them down, give you a few of their characteristics, and hopefully you'll find a product that might work for you in terms of your build. All right, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so our first product here is called Thermolite board. Now this is 19 millimeters thick. What it is a closed cell polymer high density foam mixed with fiberglass strands. Now this is basically just an alternative to wood. So we've used this for our flooring in our box, and that was to replace the plywood flooring we had. Now you can screw into it. It's it's good for adhesives, so things stick to it really well. Now you can buy different types of surfaces when it comes to Thermolite. This is sanded both sides. You can also get what's called elephant skin, which glue doesn't adhere to it quite so well, so it's something to bear in mind. Now you can get anything from 6 millimeters thick all the way to 50 millimeters thick when it comes to Thermolite. It is a little bit pricey, but it's a really good product. So it's flame retardant, it's non-toxic. It also is so strong that it's actually really surprising, and like I said, you can bond to it and you can screw to it. So in our opinion, a very good alternative to wood. It does not take on moisture, and that was one of the big reasons why we chose this. It's also very lightweight in comparison to wood that would be of a similar strength. And the other really good bonus is it does have some good thermal properties, so it kind of acts a little bit like insulation. So that's called Thermolite. Okay, so the next product, and this is one we had a bit of a heartache from, as you'll know if you've been following our channel, but overall we're incredibly happy with the product. It was more just the service we got alongside it that was pretty tricky to deal with. Now, this is what's called XPS foam, so extruded polystyrene foam. Not your normal polystyrene that is formed up of lots of beads. They aren't as strong and can have air in them, and they're used slightly toxic when they're manufactured. So this is the same product basically, but it's extruded in a different way, I guess. So it makes it stronger and more dense. So that's the blue foam you see inside. You can get that of any thickness you want, really. We chose 40 millimeters thick, both for cost effectiveness and for the fact we didn't want to take up a bunch of space on the interior of our box if we had gone with something like 60 mil, which it does make a difference overall. Now this XPS foam is sandwiched with what is called FRP panel. Now that's fiber reinforced plastic. It's 2 mil thick on either side, and it's incredibly strong, it's shiny, easy to clean, and overall the product has just been brilliant so far. It's got incredible thermal properties, this XPS foam. So it's like a space age version of your refrigeration truck, but really it's nothing like it. It's just a similar kind of thickness. Refrigeration panel often has wood in it or aluminium. This is just the foam paneling for the FRP either side. So a really good product. It's flame retardant as well when this XPS foam is produced. So it's not going to catch on fire and burn your whole box down. Now you can screw to the FRP, you can bond to it with glues, your Sika 111s, things like that. MS polymer sticks incredibly well to this. Silicons, I haven't tried so much, but your MS polymer works really well. And overall, just really happy with it. You can cut into it with a jigsaw nice and easily, so you can make your windows. It is expensive, but really worth it to go with a modern product, which is really good for insulation. Now the reason we didn't use this for our flooring is we wanted to keep our overall height inside as large as possible, I guess. So that's why we went with the 19 millimeter thick Thermolite board. Also, the Thermolite retains mechanical fastening better than this does. You can screw and bolt to this but it's a little bit like, say, you were screwing into jib board. It's not going to hold as strong, not like the Thermalite does. Another huge bonus is not only its thermal properties, but just how incredibly lightweight this is. This would float in water, and that's really why we wanted to buy this product, is just for an overall huge box, there's just no weight to it, which is so nice. Now that's really important not only for your keeping under your GVM, if that's a concern, but just also it just reduces that overall dynamic change in terms of center of gravity when you're driving. We've got a high truck, but you can't feel that that box up there. But in terms of weight going over uneven terrain, you just don't feel this paneling, which is great. So yeah, XPS Foam FRP panel. All right, so the next product I want to talk about is aluminium T-slot. Now we have used this for all of our interior construction in place of wood or Q-block framing. Now, like I said, it's aluminium. It's an extruded product that has a T down each side. Now we bought this from a company called AME Systems in Victoria. As far as we can tell, there is no company here over in Western Australia that does it. And that's been one really tricky thing, is that we have to pre-order it, wait for delivery. So that can be a bit of a pain in the butt when it comes to your build. Now, you may know of this as 80/20 in the United States. That is a brand name. There are various companies that do this extruded aluminium. I think this one comes from Italy. Now, one thing to really bear in mind, and this could make or break your build, is each company has a slightly different slot to the T as far as we're aware. So that means you really want to stick with one brand or one manufacturer, or they may not line up, or your fasteners may not work. So you really want to stick with that one product. Now this is 30 mil by 30 mil. We think, I mean, it's super strong. We think this is ample strength for our build. Now you can go with maybe a more famous one, I guess, is your 40/40. A lot thicker, more expensive, heavier, takes up more room in your build. This is one with shiny smooth side on two edges, so it's got a really nice finish. Some companies even sell them black anodized, but we couldn't get our hands on that easily. Now the way it works is you slide a fastener into the T. Now you can buy fasteners from each of these companies. They all make their own fasteners and brackets for them, but again, the cost is going to skyrocket, and you have to wait on deliveries and make sure you've got the right amounts. So you can get things like spring nuts, all kinds of stuff that works really well. But Ange and I really wanted to find our own locally sourced stuff that we could get our hands on really easily, and we're happy we did, but it kind of made the whole building process quite difficult. So we settled on this 1/4 inch bolt. They're 15 millimeters long, and they come with a square, kind of like a T-nut. Oh, sorry, a T-washer, I guess. So we slide that into the profile, and then we have our angle brackets, which we also made. Now these are 3 millimeters thick. We've cut them to be 30 millimeters wide, and we buy lengths of angle at 1 meter lengths. This is galvanized steel, and then on a drill press we drill the holes in it. So it's a long, tedious process, and it's surprising how many of these you need. But as an example, an aluminium bracket from the manufacturer of this product was $5 each. We end up costing these at about 70 cents each. So huge difference there. Now that will slot onto your bolt, and then we use a nylon 1/4 inch nut to bind that up. And then, so you can slide it along, bind it up, and it will stay there. Then obviously you can get another one, slot in, create your structure that way. One issue with this, and something that's really created a lot of headaches, frustration, swearing, fights, is you have to preload this for your entire build. So if you've got one long length of T-slot, you need to know exactly how many uprights you've got, how many angle brackets you're going to use before you bolt it all together, so that you can slide these in. You cannot slide them in after the fact. If you can't get to one end, you can't put them in. You could maybe drill holes in it and then slot them in, but that's a bit of a pain in the butt. It's all just a little bit tricky, and something that we haven't dealt with before, but we've kind of got our head around it now. but that made things so much cheaper and a bit more simple. So that's the T-slot. All right, so next product. Now this one is called Ali-Gloss. So it comes with a plastic wrapper to keep it nice and protected. Looks very similar to your FRP panel, but it's actually got 2 layers of aluminium, and it's kind of sandwiched and bonded together with a like a plastic. So that is a really cool product. It's incredibly light, it's waterproof. We've only used it in one area of our build, and that was just out of personal preference, but we built our shower tray out of this. You can bend it to shape. The only downside is it retains its shape. So if you accidentally bend it, it will not come back to the shape again. There will always be a slight bend into it unless you can find a press for it somehow. So that's something to bear in mind. It's nice that it bends, but yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Whereas your FRP panel does not bend. It may bend a tiny bit and then it will snap. So that's your Ali-Gloss there. Again, waterproof, really lightweight. You could maybe build some cabinetry out of it, but you just have to be careful of the bending and the flexing of it. This is roughly 3mm thick. We found an alternative option that just looked a little bit nicer, a bit like a tile look, but you could use this for your shower walls. Any kind of a wet room area would work really well. You could even use it as like a splashback, but it is highly reflective. So, I mean, you can basically see yourself perfectly. It's like a mirrored finish, and when it scratches, it's noticeable. So it's just something to bear in mind with that. So that's Ali-Gloss. All right, final product, one that Ange and I are super stoked with. It is called Quickboard Ceiling Liner by a company called Permatimber. Now, it's basically like a honeycomb inside. It's made out of a lightweight plastic, but it's really strong for what it is. I don't know really how to describe that, but we're basically using it for all of our walls, and it's got this almost like shiplap finish, and it joins together a little bit like tongue and groove, I guess you could call it. Really nice product. You can get it in really long lengths, and normally it's used for your ceilings where you wouldn't kind of touch it. You would sort of just look at it from there, but it actually works really well for up close. It's got like a timber grain to it, a fake timber grain. And then big bonus is you've got all kinds of profiles and joiners that slot right in nicely. And it creates, yeah, just a really cool product. There's a few things to be aware of. If you've got a wall that's quite low and you can look down on it, you can then see, obviously that, so you've got to be careful with your joiners. But yeah, crazy lightweight, roughly 7mm thick. You can actually screw to it. We've tried that. You can glue to it really easily. We actually use a very strong kind of double-sided tape to actually stick these to our aluminium T-slot, which means we can remove it at a later date if we need to. It's very easy to clean, and it comes in various colors, so you can get like a natural wood kind of a color. We chose this Arctic white. There's also a nice one which is kind of like a champagne color. But yeah, that's by a company called Permatimber, and Quickboard Ceiling Lining. All right, so hopefully you got something out of these 5 products, something that you can maybe use on your build or start to source and find out a bit more information about. If you have any questions, please just fire them in the comments. Happy to try and answer as much of it as I can. Obviously, I'm no expert, I'm not a professional builder, but it's something for a DIY kind of an outfit has worked actually really well. So yeah, cheers, and see you on the next one.